to number 2, Duke versus number 15, Belmont. All right. The Duke Blue Devils, and you know Belmont is the Bruins. All right, so in 1922, the teams. Oh, this is the best name for a team. If you'll agree, you have.
Well, this is why the listeners are here.
Yeah, in 1920, this is Duke. In 1922, they were then called Trinity College. They were known originally as the Trinity 11. Is that not a great name? The Trinity 11.
For the football team?
That was for the football team. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I love that. Again, that's kind of a soccer reference in my head. I think of a first 11 for the team. That's pretty.
Golly, that is a great name. Anyway, so they got rid of that, and then they were the Blue and Whites, and then they were the Methodists. And the name Blue Devils comes from the French Les Diables Bleus, or the Blue Devils, which comes from the nickname given during World War I to the French Alpine Light Infantry Battalion. And although they were very courageous and did a lot of things, they didn't really turn the status quo of World War I. They did, however, come to America and with their fancy garb and their blue cape, and they raised a lot of money for the war. So not a whole lot of action in the war, courageous and fancy dressed. That's where the term Blue Devils comes from. And then the mascot, the Blue Devil, he doesn't actually have a name. He's just the Blue Devil. He doesn't have a name. Belmont, they're the Bruins. They're a bear. It's kind of up there with generic mascots. It comes from Middle English. There's a fable about something. And in the mid-90s, they were the Rebels, and they changed it because of the ties to the Confederacy. So we've got a bear versus the Blue Devils. What are you thinking?
Well, I mentioned earlier, that I felt like a Blue Devil would succumb to a bear's overwhelming strength. However, hearing that story, hearing about the French military ties back during World War I, in a way, the Duke Blue Devil is a mascot of a mascot, right? I mean, those guys, even though they weren't necessarily the most powerful unit in the French military at the time, which may not be saying much, but this isn't the podcast to talk about that. The bottom line is, they were doing what they're good at, which is getting people to give them money. So, a mascot of mascots, the Blue Devil. Also, you got to go uniqueness on here. Let's just imagine, if you will, a battle royale of mascots, and then all of a sudden a Blue Devil walks up. Everyone's going to have to pause and say, "What on earth is that?"
Yeah.
How am I going to deal with this beast? And I know what a bear looks like in a fight. I don't. For a Blue Devil, so I'm gonna go with Duke. I'm with you. The Bruin name doesn't inspire a lot of ferocity. I think I'm leaning towards Blue Devils. How about you?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Blue Devils. Belmont's just kind of vanilla. Meh. I've been to I have been to a Belmont basketball game this year, and they are good. But Blue Devils gonna take this one.
Yep, I'm with you.
All right, we're moving on to Providence, number 7 versus the 10 seed Arizona State. This is a very interesting one. I have circled this one. I've been waiting to get to this one. Do you know why? The Providence what?
Friars. The Friars.
Versus the Arizona State what?
Sun Devils.
Oh, here we go.
The Friars and the Devils. We get a little holy war going on.
I don't even have to talk about it. Like, I can't let
this one goes way back, Josh. This one goes back before the creation of time. Hard to know.
Our battle is not on earth. It's with principalities.
It's not that kind of podcast. That's our other channel.
That's our other
channel.
Look, I'm going to have a hard time saying the Devil's going to beat a Friar, okay? That's all I'm going to say right now. But while you're thinking, here is this is from a publication. The Friar's name is Friar Dom, and this is straight out of I think the New York Times. The ghoulish mascot of Providence College, with his gaping mouth and soulless eyes, who's now sowing nightmares for a generation of young hoops fans as he dances around Providence's Dunkin' Donuts Center.
Yeah, I think you might need to put a picture up of this mascot for our viewers.
He's right here. He is.
He is pretty terrifying. And Providence is one of those schools. I mean, doesn't get a lot of primetime play, right? But the Friar is a really strong mascot, just in terms of again, let's take it from a combative stance, right? He's going to have a lot of endurance. He's going to be really patient. He's going to pick his spots. He's not going to do anything to endanger himself or
Mm,
expose himself in this
right.
battle, right? And frankly, look, Arizona State, as much as I want to be like, man, the Sun Devils are really cool. Like, it's a cool thought. We were just talking about the Blue Devils a second ago, but in my head, I think the Sun Devil may also be a desert creature of some kind. I can't remember if it's like a lizard or something of the sort. But man, I think a Friar is going to know. He's going to have done his homework. He got
Yeah.
a lot of time to think about this.
If the Sun Devil was up against something else, it might use its like trident spear. They call it a pitchfork, but it's actually a trident. I researched that. But the Friar's going to know how to take down the devil. If it matched up against something else, it might have a chance. But the Friar's gonna take him out.
Look, going to our flames discussion earlier, if the flame runs up against a 2-lane green wave, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry, right? The water is going to douse the flame
Yep,
pretty quickly. I
that's
think
right.
in this situation, the same thing applies to a Sun Devil going up against a Friar.
The Friars also have a Dalmatian called Friar Boy, and an illustrator from Disney helped create Sparky the Sun Devil.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah. And actually, there's no other backstory other than they just picked a devil, and it's really hot there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's pretty straightforward. If you're building a university in the middle of Arizona, that's probably that's the direction you're going to go with it. And much like many of their NCAA tournament performances, I think they're bouncing from this tournament pretty quickly, Josh.
Oof. And with that, they have been, and they are here we go. You've been waiting for this one. This is number 2 Kentucky versus number 15 seed North Dakota State. We know that Kentucky are the Wildcats. Matt, what is North Dakota State?
They're the Bison.
That is exactly right. Thundar. Thundar. Thundar, the bison. The bison was a logical choice. The great animal once roamed the North Dakota prairie in vast numbers, and over the years, the bison athletic team has added an additional name, the Thundering Herd. Don't love that, but do love the mascot. It was developed by head football coach Stan Borlowski in 1919 because he and members of the football team didn't like being known as the Aggies. Borlowski wanted a strong and fierce mascot, and he chose the bison. Now, I don't know a whole lot about bison, but if he says they're strong and fierce, and he might be right. I don't know.
I mean, do we have a similar story for Kentucky on the Wildcat? I mean, again, I feel like there was a committee that met and they said, hey, we need a mascot. All the good names were immediately thrown out the window, and they said, well, we're left with Wildcat. Let's just run with that. And so they went with Wildcat.
Okay, so they have 2 mascots. They have Scratch, which is the family friendly one, and then they have the Wildcat. They have 2 like run around the field mascots. But really, it comes from one of the coaches was like, "Hey, y'all played like Wildcats last night in like 1909," and then that's what it took. And so that was it. That was it.
Yeah, and Josh, you and I, we've both had our fair share of Southern sports coaches who have influenced us in our time, and they are many things, but creative orators is not necessarily one of them, right?
Right.
Again, yeah. Okay, in the same way we were talking about Wildcats and cats in general as sort of being, let's just say, an overrated mascot because they are so prevalent and folks try to skirt around it with different breeds. In my head, the bison, buffalo in general, probably the most underrated North American animal, period, bar none.
Ooh.
Really strong
Hot take. Hot
symbol.
take there.
Yeah, hot. That's what
There
the
it is.
people kind of want to hear, Josh. That's why they came. That's why they came. They want to hear the hot takes about North American mammals. And I'm telling you, right now, it's the bison. The bison, I think, take this one hands down. A herd of bison against a herd of cats.
Oh, it's over. It's not even close. It's not even close. Huge upset right there. Number 2 Kentucky goes down. And that, Matt, that finishes up the Midwest bracket. Let's go back through. I didn't actually write these down. I should have. But the Bison over Kentucky, the Friar over the Sun Devil, the Blue Devil over the Bruin, the Buccaneer over the Hawkeye, what did we say for the Badger over the Mean Green? That was a tough one. The War Eagle, the Tiger actually winning one against the Liberty Flames. Upset in my book, or not an upset, but man, heartbreak. Golden Eagles take down the Cougars, and the Saints take down the Jayhawks. Is there a religious bias? Is there a Christianity bias in this first round?
Yeah, the writers, the West Coast writers will say so, Josh. The West Coast writers will say that there's an East Coast religious bias. No, I don't think so. I think it's early days. It's day
Yeah.
one in the tournament. I think as we go on, I think we'll see some. I think we'll see some dark-sided
Mm.
mascots take a win here. And look, we did have a devil move on. We said we had
We
the Blue
did.
Devils
We
move
did.
on as well. So I don't think there's an overarching reason to say that we're thinking one way or the other.
All right, with that, we are going to end this version of Mascot Madness. Tune in for more. We're going to try to work through every single matchup and come out with the mascot champion for quarantine content. This is almost sports, or not quite sports, or not exactly sports. We'll figure out a name as we go. We're just we're getting it out there. Matt, man, thanks for doing this.
Hey, absolutely, Josh. Thanks so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. Can't wait to do it again. And remember to wash your hands and stay away from each other.